those moments of doubt just pop into your head. I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not...
For years, Princess Beatrice's husband stayed away from drama, but now the dark truth is finally being exposed. His past, his decisions, and hidden moments are coming together in a surprising way. What really happened behind closed doors? Why are people talking about it now? Join us as we reveal the full story, step by step. Quiet collapse. Before a new beginning. Before Princess Beatrice entered the picture, Eduardo was already building a life with another woman, Dara Huang. Dara was not someone he dated briefly or without seriousness. She was a Harvard-educated architect who had already achieved international success. Over time, she went on to create her own design firm from the ground up. She was known for her intelligence, her strong work ethic, and her deep commitment to her career and personal life. By every account, she was fully devoted to the future she and Eduardo were creating together. Their relationship had reached a serious stage. They were engaged and making plans for a shared future. On the surface, everything appeared stable and promising. However, beneath that calm exterior, something had already begun to weaken. There were signs of strain that were not visible to the outside world. What should have brought them closer instead created distance between them. During this time, Dara became pregnant. This moment, which is often seen as a joyful milestone, did not bring the expected sense of unity. Instead, it seemed to deepen the tension that had already begun to form. People close to them later suggested that difficulties had started to grow quietly during this period. These issues were not public, but they were present and serious. There were claims that the two of them sometimes went weeks without even speaking to each other. This silence reflected how far apart they had become emotionally. Dara may have gone through her pregnancy while everything around her was slowly falling apart. The environment she was in was no longer stable, even though nothing had been openly confirmed. Dara understood the weight of the situation she was in. Bringing a child into a strained relationship carries a heavy responsibility. She knew that if things ended, she would likely have to carry the full burden alone. Despite this, she tried to hold things together. She made efforts to keep the relationship intact, hoping it could still be repaired. Eventually, there came a point where everything broke. One night, an argument escalated beyond control. Reports suggest that something was said that crossed a boundary. In that moment, Dara reached her limit. She made it clear that she would no longer continue in a situation that felt damaged. She told him that if he wanted to leave, he could go. She decided she would raise the child on her own if necessary. The emotional toll of this period was visible. For days after that moment, she appeared exhausted and overwhelmed. This was not the result of a single disagreement, but the effect of months of stress, fear, and emotional pressure that had built up over time. After that night, their relationship was never the same again. Despite all of this, none of these struggles were visible to the public. From the outside, everything appeared normal. In the year 2016, their son was born. His full name is Christopher Wolf Mapelli Motzi, often called Wolfie. His arrival came at a time when the relationship between his parents was already unstable, even though this reality was not openly discussed. In the year 2017, Eduardo and Dara were still seen together in public. They attended events, appeared in photographs, and presented an image of unity. They stood side by side, smiling, giving the impression that everything was fine. However, these public appearances did not reflect what was truly happening behind the scenes. By the year 2018, the relationship came to an end. It happened quietly, without any formal announcement. Their engagement had never been officially made public, and because of that, there was no formal statement when it ended. The relationship simply disappeared from view without explanation. This silence made the situation feel unusual. In most cases, when something this serious ends, there is some form of communication. People often speak out, explain their side, or try to shape how the story is understood. In this case, there was nothing. Both sides remained completely silent, and no details were officially shared. Shortly after the breakup, a new development changed how everything was seen. Within a few months, Eduardo was seen with Princess Beatrice. The timing raised questions. It felt sudden, and it created uncertainty about when this new relationship had actually begun. There was no clear answer as to whether it started after the previous relationship ended, or if it had begun earlier. One part of the situation remained clear and could not be overlooked. Wolfie was at the center of it all. His life became connected to the British royal family through circumstances that were beyond his mother's control. His presence linked the past and the future in a way that could not be ignored. This moment became the foundation for everything that followed. Eduardo did not enter his new life alone. He carried with him a past that included a broken engagement and a child whose life had already been shaped by those events. To fully understand how these transitions happened, it is necessary to look further back. The way Eduardo handled these moments did not come from nowhere. Many who have followed his story closely believe that his approach was shaped earlier in his life. They often point to one specific year as especially important, the year 2011. What happened during that time left a lasting impact that continued to influence everything that came after. The questions that followed. On the Gold Coast of Australia, many people invested real money into Eduardo's business. This was not a small change. It was money people had saved for years. They were drawn in by beautiful images of a high-end beachfront project called the Masthead Ocean Club. It promised luxury living on the Australian coast and appeared to be supported by strong and respected names. The press releases sounded confident, and the media coverage was full of excitement. Everything pointed to a serious international project with strong backing. Then everything fell apart. The company behind the Masthead Ocean Club went into administration. The development disappeared, and the investors were left with nothing except memories of those polished images and deep disappointment. While this was happening, Eduardo Mapelli Mazzi was in Palm Beach, Florida, attending a design conference. This side of the Banda property story is rarely discussed. Eduardo founded Banda in 2007 at the age of 23. He had just finished university and had strong family connections that helped him open doors many young entrepreneurs could not reach. His idea was simple. He focused on finding undervalued areas in London, turning them into high-end homes, and selling them to wealthy buyers. Over nearly 2 decades, Banda managed developments worth more than £875 million. This showed the scale of the business and how much it had grown. Eduardo later shared that he is dyslexic, but he focused his energy on design and luxury living. This helped him build a strong image around his work. However, questions began to appear. Banda's reputation was built on the claim of finding undervalued areas in London. This message was shared publicly many times. Then journalists and writers at Forbes started to look deeper when Banda launched a major project in Notting Hill. This area is known as one of the most expensive and desirable places in the country, where properties have not been undervalued for many years. There was also a deeper concern. London has been facing a serious housing crisis. Many people have been forced to leave the neighborhoods they grew up in because prices have become too high. When already expensive properties are developed further and sold at even higher prices, it pushes people out. This effect is closely linked to Banda's business model. Eduardo handled these challenges in a consistent way. He continued working, building projects, and attending events. He spoke about architecture with confidence and maintained a strong public image, even while the situation in Australia left investors struggling. This pattern of presenting success, no matter what was happening behind the scenes, had been part of his approach since 2011. The question remained how long it could continue, especially as his personal life began to attract attention. Eduardo was about to meet Princess Beatrice, and this would bring a new chapter. Their relationship developed quickly, but it did not begin by chance. Their families had known each other for many years. Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson had moved in similar social circles as the Mapelli Mazzi family for a long time. Eduardo's mother confirmed that they had known Beatrice for most of her life. Before this, Beatrice had been in a long relationship with Dave Clark. It lasted nearly 10 years, beginning when she was 18 and ending when she was 28. The relationship ended without a proposal and without a clear explanation. Within 2 years, Eduardo entered her life. However, his own past was not fully settled. He had ended his engagement to Dara Huang in 2018 and had a young son. Despite this, by late 2018, he and Beatrice had started seeing each other privately. By November 2018, their relationship was clear. In March 2019, they appeared together publicly at a fundraising event at the National Portrait Gallery in London. Cameras captured the moment, and people began to take notice. Questions quickly followed about who Eduardo was. By May 2019, the answer became clearer. They attended the wedding of Lady Gabriella Windsor together. At that point, it was widely understood that their relationship was serious and continuing to grow. Royal engagement, shadowed by sudden scandal. In September 2019, Eduardo took a major step forward in his relationship. He proposed marriage. He also played a direct role in creating the engagement ring. Eduardo worked closely with British jeweler Sean Lean to bring his design to life. The ring featured a diamond shaped in a long rectangle, known as a baguette cut. This stone was placed into a floral design along the band, giving the ring a distinct and detailed look. Sean Lean, however, was not known for soft or traditional designs. His work had gained global attention for its bold and intense style. He had collaborated with the late Alexander McQueen, creating pieces inspired by bones, thorns, coiled shapes, and sharp metal. His jewelry often carried a strong, striking presence that was never meant to feel gentle or comforting. Instead, it was designed to stand out and provoke strong reactions. One of his most recognized creations had been worn by Isabella Blow, a well-known British fashion editor who passed away in 2007. Sean Lean built his reputation in a space where beauty and darkness often existed side by side. This made his involvement in designing the engagement ring an unusual and notable choice for such a joyful occasion. On September 26, 2019, Buckingham Palace officially announced the engagement of Princess Beatrice of York to Edoardo Mapelli Mozzi. The statement released to the public was simple and carefully written. It spoke about their future together, but revealed little about the deeper situation surrounding them. At the time, not everyone within the royal family shared the excitement. Reports later revealed that King Charles, who was then Prince Charles, had concerns about the relationship. The pace of the engagement had been very fast. Despite these concerns, the announcement moved forward, and wedding plans began. During this period, Beatrice would have been focused on important decisions, including her dress, the venue, the guest list, and her future. Everything appeared calm and stable on the surface. It seemed like things were finally falling into place. Then, on November 16, 2019, a major event changed everything. Prince Andrew gave an interview to the BBC. His connection to Jeffrey Epstein had already been known, but this interview brought intense attention and criticism. Epstein, an American financier, had been convicted in 2008 for offenses involving a minor. He was later arrested again in 2019 on serious charges involving underage girls. Prince Andrew had maintained a friendship with Epstein even after the earlier conviction. During the interview, he stated that he did not remember meeting Virginia Giuffre, who had accused him publicly. He also said he did not regret his connection to Epstein, describing it as beneficial for business relationships. He further claimed that he could not have been sweating during the time in question because of a medical condition he said developed after the Falklands War. This statement drew widespread attention and confusion. The public reaction was immediate and intense. Many people were upset by his responses and his lack of clear acknowledgement of the situation. Within 48 hours, Prince Andrew announced that he would step back from public duties with the Queen's approval. This decision quickly changed everything around Beatrice. Her engagement had only just been announced when her personal world shifted. Her father became one of the most criticized figures in Britain almost overnight. The environment around her changed from calm to deeply pressured. Eduardo had proposed during a period that seemed structured and secure. Soon after, both of them found themselves facing a completely different reality, filled with public scrutiny, tension, and growing pressure. A wedding tested by scandal. The wedding began to fall apart slowly, one piece at a time. The first serious problem came from an old image that suddenly returned to public attention. The photo showed Prince Andrew standing with his arm around Virginia Giuffre inside the home of Ghislaine Maxwell. This image became deeply troubling because Virginia Giuffre had openly accused Andrew of being involved with her when she was underage, as part of Jeffrey Epstein's trafficking network. Because of these claims, the photograph was treated as possible evidence. Each time it appeared again, it brought renewed attention and placed pressure directly on Princess Beatrice's wedding. Eduardo was right in the middle of this situation with her. This was not a small matter. He had spent his entire adult life carefully managing his public image. Now, he was preparing to marry into a family where a major and very public scandal was unfolding in real time. The situation was completely out of his control, and there was nothing he could do to stop it. The attention, the headlines, and the constant discussion surrounded them as the wedding approached. Then, a second major problem arrived. The global spread of COVID-19 brought everything to a halt. The original wedding plans could not continue. The ceremony that was meant to take place at the Chapel Royal was postponed. The planned reception at Buckingham Palace was completely cancelled. Everything they had hoped for and carefully arranged disappeared. The grand celebration they had been waiting for was no longer possible. What remained was a very different plan, one that felt far from their original dream. On July 17, 2020, they were married at the Royal Chapel of All Saints at Royal Lodge in Windsor. The ceremony was small and limited to immediate family. It felt quiet and almost hidden from the world. The scale was reduced, and the atmosphere was very different from what had once been expected. Instead, it was designed to stand out and provoke strong reactions. One of his most recognized creations had been worn by Isabella Blow, a well-known British fashion editor who passed away in 2007. Yet, in the middle of all these difficulties, something meaningful happened. Queen Elizabeth II made a personal and thoughtful decision. She did more than simply offer something for Beatrice to wear. She went into her own private collection and chose two items of deep historical importance. The first was a vintage ivory silk taffeta gown designed by Norman Hartnell in 1962. This was not just any dress. The Queen herself had worn it to the world premiere of Lawrence of Arabia. The second was her diamond-fringed tiara, the same tiara she had worn on her own wedding day in 1947. These pieces carried history, meaning, and personal value. At that time, the Queen was an elderly woman, watching her granddaughter's wedding plans be reduced by events beyond their control. She could not change the scandal or the global situation, but she could offer something deeply personal. By sharing these items, she showed that the day still mattered. She showed that Beatrice still mattered. It was a quiet but powerful gesture that added meaning to a very small ceremony. Edoardo stood there and witnessed all of this. He could see the difference between what the wedding was meant to be and what it had become. The contrast was clear. The plans had changed, the scale had shrunk, and the circumstances were far from ideal. Then came one of the most uncomfortable moments of the day. Inside the small private chapel, Prince Andrew walked his daughter toward the man she had chosen to marry. Despite everything that had been said about him and everything the public believed, he was still her father. Beatrice wanted him present on that important day. However, when the official wedding photos were released, Prince Andrew did not appear in any of them. This decision was deliberate. Including him in the images would have shifted attention away from Beatrice and onto the controversy surrounding him. To keep the focus on the couple, he was removed from the official photographs. Edoardo understood this decision. He did not speak about it. In fact, he has always remained silent in situations like this. That silence is important because it reveals something about his character. He does not argue or react publicly. Instead, he accepts what is happening around him without resistance. This raises questions about the kind of person he is and how he handles pressure. Many people have wondered about this. His approach is calm and quiet, but it also means that he keeps his thoughts to himself. Beatrice would be the one to truly understand what that means over time. The wedding ceremony came to an end, but it did not bring a sense of peace. Instead, it marked the beginning of a more complex chapter. The challenges they faced did not disappear. In fact, they continued and became even more noticeable with the arrival of their first child. The situation they stepped into after the wedding was not simple, and it carried its own difficulties. A life that looked perfect but felt the pressure. The first night with the baby did not go as expected. There was fear, there were tears, machines all around, doctors moving quickly, and voices that were low but urgent. Beatrice lay there, unable to control what was happening. That moment came on January 22, 2025. Their daughter, Athena Elizabeth Rose Mapelli Mazzi, was born several weeks early at Chelsea and Westminster Hospital. That moment reveals everything about what their life had quietly become. From the outside, everything looked perfect, but beneath it, there was pressure coming from every direction. After the wedding, life moved very quickly. They first lived in a 4-bedroom apartment inside St. James's Palace. It may sound simple when people say it, but it is not. Living inside a palace does not mean it belongs to you. It means you are there because the institution allows it. At the same time, that same institution had already started pulling away from her father. So they were inside it, but they were not fully protected by it. That was the position they found themselves in. Beatrice and Eduardo were not working royals, yet they were still visible enough to attract constant attention. This created a very unusual space. They were seen, but not fully supported. They were connected, but not fully included. Eduardo had to live within that balance, and so did Beatrice. Despite everything, she continued working. She held a senior role at a software company called Affinity, serving as vice president of strategic partnerships. On the surface, it appeared normal, a royal figure with a professional career. However, something else soon came into focus. In 2021, the New York Times published a detailed investigation into Affinity's founder, Zia Chishti. The investigation presented allegations of sexual harassment and assault made by multiple women against him. These allegations were considered credible. Following that report, Chishti resigned from the company. Beatrice remained in her position. There was no public statement, no resignation, and no clear sign of distance from the company whose founder had just been credibly accused of serious misconduct against women by one of the most respected newspapers in the world. Eduardo also said nothing publicly about the situation. Once again, silence surrounded something that raised serious questions. Then came another major change in late 2022. They left the palace and moved to a 6-bedroom converted farmhouse in the Cotswolds. The property included tennis courts, large gardens, and an outdoor swimming pool. It was reportedly worth around £3.5 million. On the surface, it looked like a simple lifestyle decision, but it was not. Queen Elizabeth II had passed away in September 2022. That moment changed everything. She had been a quiet but deeply important protector of Beatrice and her family within the royal structure. Her support was steady, and her influence was powerful. When she passed away, that protection disappeared as well. The move away from the palace happened immediately after her death. It came at a time when they had lost the one person who had consistently shielded them from the challenges surrounding their family. They were not simply building a peaceful life in the countryside. They were stepping back and adjusting after losing their strongest support. By that time, they already had one child together. In September 2021, they welcomed their first daughter, Sienna Elizabeth Mapelli Madzi. She was already part of the line of succession, with a future shaped by rules and expectations that neither parent fully controlled. At the same time, Wolfie remained part of their lives, moving between two different worlds, his mother's private life and his father's connection to the royal family. Then came the second pregnancy, announced in October 2024. Behind the public smiles, there was growing weight once again. This was not just about welcoming another child. It was happening within a life that was already under pressure and already stretched in many directions. The weight of silence and unanswered questions. A family that has never fully stepped out of public scrutiny found itself facing yet another difficult moment. As if the challenges surrounding them were not already enough, the arrival of a premature birth changed everything. That moment shattered any remaining sense of calm and exposed a deeply personal struggle. Princess Beatrice later described the early arrival of her daughter, Athena, as something that affected her in a profound way. It was not just a medical situation. It was an emotional experience that shook her completely. The fear, the uncertainty, and the intensity of that moment stayed with her long after it passed. The experience left a lasting mark on her life. Because of how deeply she was affected, Beatrice chose to turn that painful moment into something meaningful. She took on a new patronage with Born, a charity focused on ending premature birth across the world. This step showed her desire to create something real from the fear she had gone through. It was her way of finding purpose in a situation that had once felt overwhelming. Throughout all of this, Eduardo Mapelli Mozzi remained by her side. His presence was steady and calm. There were no public emotional reactions, no visible signs of distress, and no outward expressions of pressure. To many people, this level of composure did not feel natural. Instead, It appeared to be something developed over time. This calm and controlled behavior led to a deeper question. What kind of person can move through such intense situations without ever showing cracks in public? As people began to look more closely, it became clear that Eduardo's silence was not sluchai. Instead, it was designed to stand out and provoke strong reactions. One of his most recognized creations had been worn by Isabella Blow, a well-known British fashion editor who passed away in 2007. It seemed deliberate and consistent. The attention around the family grew even stronger in 2025, when the United States Department of Justice released a large collection of documents connected to the case of Jeffrey Epstein. These documents contained millions of pages, and within them, Princess Beatrice's name appeared. She was not accused of anything, but her name was linked to a phone call that took place in 2011. That call involved her mother, Sarah Ferguson, and a man named Jordy Grieg. Sarah Ferguson has long been a figure surrounded by controversy, including financial issues and questions about her decisions. Her connection to the Epstein world, through Prince Andrew, had already drawn attention in the past. Jordy Grieg was not a typical journalist. He was known to have a close working relationship with Sarah Ferguson, often helping place favorable stories about her in the media. The phone call in question was linked to an attempt by Ferguson to request £500,000 from a contact associated with Epstein. Grieg acted as a middleman during this interaction. At the time of the call, Princess Beatrice was 23 years old and was present. What she understood about the situation has never been publicly explained. There has been no clear answer about what she knew regarding the people involved or the source of the money being discussed. These questions have remained largely unspoken, yet the documents brought them into public awareness, and people began to take notice. While all of this attention was unfolding, Eduardo was seen attending a private lunch at a Michelin-starred restaurant in Belgravia called Cornus. Photos shared on social media showed him at what appeared to be a professional gathering. He looked calm, engaged, and unaffected by the situation surrounding his family. This contrast sparked strong reactions. Many people found it difficult to understand how he could appear so relaxed at a time when his wife's name had just been mentioned in official documents connected to such a serious case. Despite the growing attention, he made no public statement. He did not address Prince Andrew, the documents, or the mention of Beatrice's name. His silence remained complete and consistent. For some, this silence serves as protection. It helps maintain his image and preserves everything he has worked to build. However, it also raises concerns. Over time, observers began to notice a pattern. At first, his behavior appeared to reflect strength and control. It seemed like he was staying calm while everything around him became difficult. But as similar situations continued to arise, the same response followed each time. This repeated pattern led people to see it differently. What once looked like composure began to appear as a form of self-protection. It created the impression of someone who avoids stepping into difficult situations publicly, someone who does not take on visible risk, and someone who remains untouched while others face the pressure. This behavior was not immediately obvious. It took time for people to connect these moments and recognize the consistency in his actions. Now that this pattern has become clearer, it has changed how many people view him. The focus has shifted. It is no longer only about what has already happened. Instead, the question now looks toward the future. If a moment comes when his family truly needs him to speak openly, to stand publicly, or to take a personal risk, will he do so, or will the silence continue? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Before you go, be sure to click on the video shown on your screen.